Yeah,
world.
yeah, it can be your best friend and worst enemy, but everything seems to be stable. So it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out.
Yeah, you too. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. And before we get into your life as an entrepreneur, I want to know 4 years ago, we were all figuring this pandemic out. How long is it going to last? How is it going to affect us? How did you get through it and how did it change you?
I was actually in a different business at that point, and it was a printing business, and we were deemed essential. So we were allowed to work. We skirted the lines of what essential meant for sure, but it was one of those times that really made you wake up and say, like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Kind of
Yeah.
thing. But then it prompted us as a company to focus on giving back more than just staying in business because our normal clients weren't buying. They just didn't need what we were selling. So we said, all right, we're good at printing. How can we use that for good? And we created this whole campaign to actually raise money for other small businesses in our community, helped us stay in business, helped me pay my employees, and also helped other small businesses at the same time. So, um, kind of a cool journey in the beginning of COVID, at least.
So right now in 2024, if I was to put you in front of a bunch of third grade students and one of the kids said, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
Right now, I would say we help small business owners get their time back so that they have the freedom that they ultimately started their business for.
So what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream?
I think I wanted to be like a pilot or a pilot and architect were the two things that I remember from my childhood.
So let's go back to the beginnings of your life here, where you were born and raised, and how these seeds of helping people get to that point, get to that better place in life. How did this evolve into who you are today?
So, yeah, I was born in New Jersey, born and raised in New Jersey. I'm only recently in North Carolina, but I would say from a very young age, I actually remember I had a first grade teacher, and she called me the problem solver, and I had really no idea what that meant at the time. What are you like six in first grade? What does a 6-year-old know about what problem solving means? Um, but I always remember that, and that theme sort of stuck with me as I grew up, and even to today, I just naturally gravitate towards solving problems. My wife hates it because that's not what women want, right? They don't want you to solve their problems, but in business, fantastic skill. So, it's been with me through my business journey really since I was a teenager. I started my first entrepreneurial venture. I'll put air quotes around that. Um, but I've always just wanted to solve problems and then help people overcome their problems. Obviously, they can get paid for it too. And I've realized that that's value creation, right? Like I'm not just selling widgets. Like I'm actually providing value for somebody and then they pay me for it. So the bigger the problem, the bigger the paycheck. And it's one of those things where it lights me up to solve any kind of problem, really. But business problems are my pride and joy. They're my favorite things to tackle.
So who's been kind of a hero or an inspiration for you in your professional life?
It's a good question. I actually I've gravitated from heroes because I used to have a lot of them and they all let me down. And I've noticed, the celebrity entrepreneur world. I'm sure we've all seen the videos on social media. I was at a point in my last business where I was fortunate enough to be making a lot of money. I got to go to these conferences hosted by these people and be in positions where you could not meet them from the point of like, a meet and greet, you shake their hand for 2 minutes. Like I was able to go to their houses and spend actual time with them and see who these people are in real life. And every single one of them let me down because first of all, their businesses are not the success that you see on social media. It's actually mostly lies. It's this facade of it's everything social media is. It's showing you the good side of business, never letting you into the bad side and what it really looks like. And they tell you they have their business under control, but all their employees hate them. Um, so I must say, I mean, I've had heroes in business, but as far as where I am right now, I've just seen too much of the dark side, too much of the lies. I try to model myself instead of just having heroes, have models. Um, I try to model myself, quite frankly, after Jesus. That he is my hero and my guiding light. And I think if I can model that both in business and in personal life, I really can't go wrong.
So what is a model business that exists out there that you look up to? Any business model in the world that's risen up to a prominent place, who do you admire?
Business model or
Like a
company?
business, yeah, like a business that's had a good mission, that's gone to a good place. Who do you admire?
None of the big ones, that's
Okay.
for sure. That's one of the things that we teach our clients. All business is broken because we model this structure, this Fortune 500 structure it's disconnected, it's inefficient, and it's bloated. And when you bring that down to small businesses, and that's who we serve, that's where my passion is helping small businesses and entrepreneurs. But when you bring that model down to small business, it breaks so quickly because the entrepreneur is spread so thin. You don't have the resources, you don't have the time to manage that type of a structure. So you actually have to restructure your business and just model it differently. That's what we get into teaching. But I've come across a number of small businesses who they do the right things, not clients of ours. I'm not just, tooting my own horn here, but they do the right thing. They're mission focused, they're impact focused, they're heart-centered people, and they're just focused on whatever their mission is, bringing that to fruition and actually making a change in the world. And it's businesses you'd never hear of. It's the main street businesses where, they have 25, 75 employees. They're making a few million bucks a year. Their employees are all happy. Their community knows them. But I can tell you for sure, if it's on the New York Stock Exchange, it's not one of those businesses.
So what is the motivation for you every day to wake up to do the work that you do? You give a lot of yourself to help others, but you also have to evolve as a person in a business. What is that gas in your tank every day?
For me, it's in my last business. I went from working 80 hours a week and being a slave to my business to actually becoming, so as an operator, to becoming a business owner. And that was in that business that changed me because I missed family time. I missed events. I missed birthdays of my kids. I missed out on the things that I knew were important, but I didn't know how to prioritize because I was chained to my business. So after I made that transition, I went from 80 hours a week to 5 hours a week, making more money, having a bigger business, making a bigger impact in my community. It opened my eyes to say, oh, that's broken. But a lot of people are doing that. So I wanted to just give that gift of business ownership to more people. And that's really what wakes me up because when we can consult with business owners and we can make them more money. We can give them bigger profit margins. But at the end of the day, like to change somebody's life and to give somebody time where they didn't think they had it, or to be able to send their kid to college because now they're making more money, they can afford that. They don't have to worry about that. It's all those little things that add up that business owners stress about and entrepreneurs stress about that you really shouldn't have to. And I absolutely love helping people get that in their life. And I do it for free, quite honestly. Like I just love helping people and giving them, painting that path and helping them get through it.
What's one of your most memorable client success stories?
Oh man, one of our earliest clients, she's actually still a client today, but um after years. But when I met her, she said to me word for word, Um, yeah, I've been running this business for about 15 years, and I feel like I don't know anything about business. Like I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm expecting the answer to my question of like, oh, tell me about your business, like how big is it, all this fun stuff. I'm expecting her to say like, oh, it's just me and a VA, and we do this little thing on the side. She goes, I have 45 employees. I operate across the United States. It's a virtual telehealth company. And I was like, hang on, what? you you don't know anything about business, but you're doing a few million in revenue. You have 45 employees, you have benefits, like your employees love you. There's a disconnect here. Like, what's going on? So really it was just she was really great at what she did, and she had this mission to make a change in this industry because her one of her children was actually affected by speech therapy when he was very young, and it just grew because she was great at what she did. She loved what she did. She had a passion for it, and she loved helping the client, which in that case was actually the students. And it got to this point where it's just grown over time. She makes a lot of money and had, in her words, no idea how to run a business. So we were able to take her in a very short period of time to from working a lot, being the center of managing all the decisions and the direction of the company, being overwhelmed, really not seeing her own family a whole lot, kind of like I described with my own story. And now, in one of our most recent meetings, which has been the common theme for us lately, she's like, I don't really know what to talk about. My team's handling everything. Things are going good. I was on vacation last week. I had fun. And I was like, that's exactly what we want for people. And um, that story, it always makes me laugh because it's so common where people just they get into business, they love what they do, they're good at it, and it becomes massive. And then they look around, they're like, I don't know how I built this, but I would love a little bit of maybe like an org chart or an operation manual to how to keep doing it. And those are my favorite, of course.
So of all of the things that you've done in your life and evolved into, what are you the proudest of?
It's got to be my parenting. I am not qualified to be a parent by any means, but I have three kids now, and they're young, but we have a great relationship, and I get to spend time with them. I get to be with them and my wife, and I get to be present with them, which is more important for me because a couple of years ago, even if I was physically present, I wasn't mentally present. And I would give anything to go back and redo those first few years, but I know that's obviously not possible. But yeah, it's the gift and ability to actually raise my children with intention, um, and not look back 20 years from now after it's way too late and say, I wish I could have done it all again.
So let's take you back to 18 years old. You have a dream tonight. You run into that version of you. You can give that young version of you a piece of advice based on the wisdom you've gained in your life. What advice would you impart on that young version of you?
Everything you think matters doesn't matter is probably what I've come to realize. I told you in that last business, I've chased the fame and the fortune and the money and the employees and the status, and I had it all, then I lost it all. And on both sides of it, the only place I've been fulfilled is with the things that truly matter. And I it's easy to make money. It's also very easy to lose money. Don't make me don't get confused with that. But on both sides of it, you don't have to have money to enjoy the things that are right in front of you. And that time with my kids and my family has proven time and time again, if you can be there, be present, and put everything else aside, that's the only thing that matters.
So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Evolving, is that fair to say? I
Sure.
mean, I I just want to continue to put my best foot forward and be the best person that I think I can be. I'm not trying to be liked by everybody. Don't hear me say that either. But if I can stand in truth and uh, be a good representation of what it is to be a human being, then the rest is what it is. But for me, that's the most important.
So if you could, we get off this call and a time machine pulls up, you can go back in time and see one event in human history or see the future. Where are you going to go?
Well, definitely not to the future. I'll tell you that because that doesn't seem like a good place right now. Um, Yeah, I've said this before, and I mentioned it earlier. I think uh being on the time where Jesus walked the earth, like that would be cool to go back and just be there and be in that presence. I'd probably just fall over and pass out. But that sounds pretty cool to me.
Yeah. So Brandon, if anyone wants to hire you, learn more about you, reach out, any of the good business, where do they go?
So yeah, here's what we got. I told you before, my passion is helping business owners get their time and their freedom back. So we have you're listening to this, so you're watching this. So I gave you or I have a three-part audio series. It takes about 30 minutes to listen to, and it'll paint the picture for the next 90 days. How do you reclaim 50% of your time as a business owner? And it walks you, it's customized to your business. So if you go to whatif.com/clarity, you'll be able to download that absolutely no charge, go through that three-part series, and reach out to me with questions. I'm happy to help.
Cool, man. Brandon, this has been wonderful. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. Keep doing the great work out there.
Yeah, thanks for having me.